Hello everyone, this is Tom Worth Jr. Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about something that's possibly more near and dear to my heart than yours, but I will tie it all together and why it matters. And that is Donald Trump's mismanagement of everything he's ever done, especially financially. And we're going right back to a story this spring about a fundraiser with the RNC. As you may recall, he overhauled the RNC. Keep in mind, he holds no office. He's not in government at all. He's just a crazy guy that the cameras follow around. Yet he controls the entire Republican Party. And he put his daughter-in-law as the co-chairperson of it and put someone else, one of his other cronies, in charge of it, push the existing person out. And they immediately started firing people to save money. And they rearranged how the money is spent. And there was a fundraiser, an $800,000 something per person fundraiser. And this reporting was actually out of the New York Times back in April. Trump's deal with RNC prioritizes PAC paying his lawyers, and it's from March 21st, so it's going back a while, but it's relevant because it's what he's always done. He's done it when he was in government. He did it with his own businesses, his own personal life. This is just what he does, and that is spend astronomical sums on legal fees. For instance, I don't spend astronomical sums on legal fees because I don't have legal issues that I'm trying to fight off all the time. Companies can legitimately, I was in charge of planning and budgeting, as you know, for a long time at various companies, and there is a line called legal fees at companies, and that's, you have to budget for that. You know your company is going to have legal fees. Things are going to happen. Maybe you'll have to have a settlement of some kind. Maybe your company screwed something up, or maybe it didn't, but it's just not worth having, a big, long, drawn-out thing. So you'll pay your lawyers on staff who you have to handle this kind of thing, to handle it, or maybe you'll be looking at a merger with another company, and then you'll have to bring some consultants in, including other lawyers. Maybe you are raising more debt or having a stock offering. There's always legal fees involved with that. So no matter what happens in life, whether it's in business or divorce proceedings or whatever it is, the lawyers are always getting rich off of it. And Trump only takes it to a new level. He's not reinventing it. He's just taking it to a new level because all of the trouble he has gotten into from the very start, from when he got into business out of Wharton. We've talked about this, how the first person he called practically was Roy Cohn, the mafia's lawyer. He knew he was going to have to get into bad stuff, and he knew he was going to need to somehow stay out of jail with what he planned to do with his life. And so this is something he's been doing for over 50 years. The difference between him and a corporation is a corporation is typically engaging in normal course of business legal activity. Not always. You have corporations doing terrible things, obviously, but it's not a person doing the terrible things like it is with Donald Trump at every turn. And I'm not just talking about his businesses. I'm talking about people who he has sexually assaulted, or election laws he's violated, or trying to overthrow the government of the United States. Just little random things like this. And that costs a lot of money to defend yourself. To the tune of over $50 million in 2023. Remember the Stop the Steal effort of his. It's just so laughable thinking back to it. Because he's the only one ever trying to steal anything. This is a projection thing we talked about. Anytime he's saying you're trying to do this, it's because it's what he's trying to do. It never fails. So stop the steal. Make America great. It's just a, he knows this is what other people are trying to do, so he makes that his slogan. So over $50 million in 2023 alone on his legal fees, his personal legal fees. That's this because, okay, the article talks about this fundraiser and how it was rejiggered, the RNC fundraising rules, to say in the fine print of this $800,000 person invitation, by the way, we just thought you should know that typically all the money you raise will go to my re-election campaign and down ballot races and other states and all for the Republican Party. But you need to be aware, donors, that the first $6,000 of everything you give me, like this $800,000, is going directly to my re-election campaign, Donald Trump alone, not the RNC. The next $5,000, which was the legal maximum allowed amount, goes directly to my Save America PAC, Political Action Committee. And again, the laughable names on it. Stop the steal. This is Save America. And he's the one who we are trying to save America from. So he calls his PAC Save America. And the sole purpose of this PAC is to pay his legal fees. So you're writing a check to support the Republican Party, and the first $6,000 goes directly to Donald Trump's re-election campaign. And you're fine with that, or else you wouldn't be spending this money. The next $5,000 goes directly to a separate account that only exists to pay his legal fees, to keep him out of jail, to keep him out of prison, to try to avoid hundreds of millions of dollars in legal judgments against him, which did fail, which is kind of funny, because that $50 million he spent last year alone pales in comparison to the hundreds of millions of dollar judgment that he got earlier this year against him, and he has to pay that. So I think he's not, like most things in his life, he's not really getting his money's worth from anyone he ever associates with. But these people willingly give him their money. And these are rich people. They can do with it what they want. They expect something in return. And if Donald Trump's in jail, he can't help them out. So, okay, kind of makes sense for those people. For run-of-the-mill people, for every time Donald Trump gets impeached, or every time Donald Trump is found guilty of some crime, or every time more indictments are brought against him and more trials are brought against him, and all these times these trials are delayed, he's never winning anything. Keep in mind, he never wins these cases. He never does. He delays them. And when he gets them delayed by people he appointed to the federal bench, Eileen Cannon in Florida, or the Supreme Court, when those people he personally appointed to help him legally, he treats that as if he's won something, but he hasn't. All it ever does is delay things. And that costs money because these lawyers are always on the clock. They're always getting paid. So when you give him money, and every time something terrible happens to him, the left is going, oh my gosh, this is going to be millions of more dollars for him to fundraise. These people fall for it every time. It just reminds me of the mega churches. You remember he has this extraordinary percentage of support from evangelicals. It is mind-boggling, the percentage of evangelicals that support Trump and not Kamala Harris. It is really stunning. And what a lot of these people do, I know some, they feel like they have to give money to their church, to their pastor directly. And their pastor always has a bigger house than them. It never fails. And some of these people are in pretty dire straits. They're borrowing money from other people to make ends meet. And then you might find out later that they've been tithing with their money. They've given 10% of what you lent them. You're never going to see it back. You're not expecting them to really pay you back, but they're giving 10% of it to their rich pastor because he has convinced them that if they don't do that, somehow Jesus is not going to be happy with them unless they give money that they don't even have to give. And these, anyway, if you first of all, if you don't have the money to give, don't give it to anyone. Let's just lay that out there. Secondly, if a rich person is asking you, who isn't rich, for your money, because somehow something is your fault if you don't give them your money, please run away. They are not a Messiah. They are not your Savior. They are not the Savior of the country. No matter how ridiculous, the billboard has a cartoon version of Donald Trump as if he is Jesus himself up there. That guy, he's not your Savior. Neither are these megachurch pastors, but that's another story. I just find the correlation so interesting between the extraordinarily high support among evangelicals for Donald Trump. It is the same mentality for them, I guess. And it is a mentality that I don't share. I do share a lot of Republican sensibilities, not all. That is not one. Okay, so back to the numbers. 50 million in 2023. In the most recent numbers in that article, this is back in the spring, of the $7.2 million that his Save America PAC raised in the most recent month back in the spring, 7.2 million, 6 million went direct. They were directly tagged as legal fees for him. So that's 6 million a month back in the spring. That was before the judgments in the summer. That was before 34 felony counts against him that he was convicted. I can only imagine, and we've had all these cases continue to be delayed against him that haven't gone to trial yet. So I can only imagine that's running at more than 7 million a month now, or 6 million a month now. I don't really know. But if you're saying that you're spending 50 to 100 million a year of your political donations on staying out of prison, how is your mind going to effectively run anything in this country? It's not. If you are spending, you know how we all hear how famously tight he is with every dollar he spends on things. He personally has to approve everything. But he is spending $6 million a month on lawyers. So he knows exactly what they're doing. They're trying to keep him out of prison. If you talk to any of these people who know him, who worked with him, and what's Donald Trump's greatest fear? It's not going bankrupt again. He's done that a bunch of times. It's not losing an election. He's already done that. It's not losing a spouse. He's done that a number of times. It's not people turning on him. It is going to prison. That is what keeps him awake at night. That is why at 70, I think he's 78 now, you see him out hitting that trail, lying his butt off, just making stuff up, never admitting anything. This is to stay out of prison. And the proof of that is he spending 50 to 100 million a year on getting reelected? No, he's spending it on legal fees. So, and that hurts not just his own chances to win election, but it hurts the entire Republican Party, because those funds should be going, like he's kind of keeping pace with Kamala Harris in the border states as far as media spend goes. He should be spending a lot more than her just because he has to have them. But I think they're pretty even on those from the latest numbers I saw. But in the other states, he is spending just a drop in the bucket compared to what the Democrats are spending. And that will show up in more Democratic governors, more Democratic, hopefully, senators and representatives, local races. So he's just killing the Republican Party. And they can't say no. They can't quit him, man. And I don't know. As someone who spent a career in finance doing planning and budgeting, they're always pinching pennies. They're always looking to cut costs. And when you do that, you're asked to do more with less. And there's usually a promise of some new system implementation, how this is going to let us reduce our head count, we'll be able to be more efficient with things, and it never really pans out. But at least, someone has sold you that bill of goods, and now you've got to try to figure out how to make it work. A lot of times you don't actually reduce your head count. You realize you can't do more with less. You're just doing the same with more. But there are times when you have to let people go. And you know these people personally. And it sucks. And it is heart-wrenching. And you have no choice. You have to do that. That is your job. When Donald Trump fires people, I know it was a TV show, but he loves firing people. He loves saying he's going to get rid of government. He loves saying he's going to eliminate departments. These are thousands or tens of thousands of people, maybe more, that he would love to fire and love to put all those families out on the street. When his daughter-in-law and the other person came in to take over the RNC for him in the spring, they fired people, and they loved doing that because Donald Trump loves saying, I'm firing people. That reduces expenses. On the other hand, he's also the master of reducing revenue, reducing income. This is tax cuts. This is his businesses doing horribly. So he always has to shrink everything. That's why he's trying to shrink the U.S. economy and make it protectionist and not globalist. He's trying to make everything smaller. He's trying to have less people employed. He's trying to have less money. But the one thing, actually two things always go up under Trump. Always. Like his whole career. This is well documented. His debt, this is why he's had to file bankruptcy multiple times with his companies, and his own income. Those two things always go up. So you tell me how when your sales are going up and you're letting people, are going down, your sales are going down, you're letting people go, but not at nearly the rate to make up for your lost revenue. But you personally somehow always have more money at the end of the deal. Well, the piece is called debt. And his businesses all had it. He's had multiple bankruptcies. He's in tremendous debt now. And even the federal government, when he reduces, when he does the tax cuts back in 2017, as promised, and the estimate was that would cost $3.8 trillion additional debt for the U.S. over a 10-year period. How is he going to pay for that debt? Because at $3.8 trillion in debt comes with debt payments. And I don't know if you've ever carried a credit card bill or not, rather than paying it off, but interest gets real high. Now, the federal government obviously has a very low rate compared to a high credit card rate, but it's also like over 20 trillion in debt now. So there's a large number. That right off the top, it's going to pay to debt payments. It's not, the money that the government is bringing in from taxes is not going to pay for government things. It's going to pay for the national debt. I don't know. I get worked up about this stuff because I lived and breathed it for so long, and it's you get so frustrated because it's like the higher up in companies you go, the worse they are, the less they care, the less common sense there is, because they've got theirs, and they don't really care about any of the rest of it. And that's Donald Trump to a T. And then that's where your money's going. So the next time, the next indictment that comes against him, or the next suit that's filed against him, he's coming after you for money, and maybe you'll give it to him, and it'll go to pay all the lawyers. So you're not helping him, you're enriching his lawyers. We're not good lawyers. I don't know. That's just what you get with Donald Trump. So, okay. That's it for today. We got 6 weeks and 1 day to go till Election Day. We all got to hang on and keep doing what we're doing. And I think good things will happen. All right? We'll see you.